Welcome. It's Facts You Don't Know. If it's your first time here and you want to find out new facts that will definitely make you smarter and more, well, and first make sure to subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss anything.
Every person has their own unique story. Take a moment and look back on your own. In the end, it's what you've done for others that defines you, not what you've built up for yourself. This story is one of redemption and hope. When a cook at a local cafeteria decided to feed a hungry homeless woman, he never knew how she would change her life forever. Whenever you feel your actions are meaningless, remember this story of simple kindness and be encouraged. "Good morning," said a woman as she walked up to the man sitting on the ground. The man slowly looked up. This was a woman clearly accustomed to the finer things in life. Her coat was new. She looked like she'd never missed a meal in her life. His first thought was that she wanted to make fun of him, like so many others had done before. "Leave me alone," he growled. To his amazement, the woman continued standing. She was smiling, her even white teeth displayed in dazzling rows. "Are you hungry?" she asked. "No," he answered sarcastically. "I've just come from dining with the president. Now go away." The woman's smile became even broader. Suddenly, the man felt a gentle hand under his arm. "What are you doing, lady?" the man asked angrily. "I said leave me alone." Just then a policeman came up. "Is there a problem, ma'am?" he asked. "No problem here, officer," the woman answered. "I'm just trying to get this man to his feet. Will you help me?" The officer scratched his head. "That's old Jack. He's been a fixture around here for a couple of years. What do you want with him?" "See that cafeteria over there?" she asked. "I'm going to get him something to eat and get him out of the cold for a while." "Are you crazy, lady?" the homeless man resisted. "I don't want to go in there." Then he felt strong hands grab his other arm and lift him up. "Let me go, officer. I didn't do anything." "This is a good deal for you, Jack," the officer answered. "Don't blow it." Finally, and with some difficulty, the woman and the police officer got Jack into the cafeteria and sat him at a table in a remote corner. It was the middle of the morning, so most of the breakfast crowd had already left, and the lunch bunch had not yet arrived. The manager strode across the cafeteria and stood by his table. "What's going on here, officer?" he asked. "What's all this? Is this man in trouble?" "This lady brought this man in here to be fed," the policeman answered. "Not in here," the manager replied angrily. "Having a person like this here is bad for business." Old Jack smiled a toothless grin. "See, lady, I told you so. Now, if you let me go, I didn't want to come here in the first place." The woman turned to the cafeteria manager and smiled. "Sir, are you familiar with Eddy and Associates, the banking firm down the street?" "Of course I am," the manager answered impatiently. "They hold their weekly meetings in one of my banquet rooms." "And do you make a godly amount of money providing food for these weekly meetings?" "What business is that of yours?" "I, sir, am Penelope Eddy, president and CEO of the company." "Oh." The woman smiled again. "I thought that might make a difference." She glanced at the cop, who was busy stifling a giggle. "Would you like to join us in a cup of coffee and a meal, officer?" "No thanks, ma'am," the officer replied. "I'm on duty." "Then perhaps a cup of coffee to go?" "Yes, ma'am, that'd be very nice." The cafeteria manager turned on his head. "I'll get your coffee for you right away, officer." The officer watched him walk away. "You certainly put him in his place," he said. "That was not my intent. Believe it or not, I have a reason for all of this." She sat down at the table across from her amazed dinner guest. She stared at him intently. "Jack, do you remember me?" Old Jack searched her face with his old, roomy eyes. "I think so. I mean, you do look familiar." "I'm a little older, perhaps," she said. "Maybe I've even filled out more than in my younger days when you worked here and I came through that very door, cold and hungry." "Ma'am?" the officer said questioningly. He couldn't believe that such a magnificently turned out woman could have ever been hungry. "I was just out of college," the woman began. "I had come to the city looking for a job, but I couldn't find anything. Finally, I was down to my last few cents and been kicked out of my apartment. I walked the street for days. It was February and I was cold, nearly starving. I saw this place and walked in the off chance that I could get something to eat." Jack lit up with a smile. "Now I remember," he said. "I was behind the serving counter. You came up and asked me if you could work for something to eat. I said that was against company policy." "I know," the woman continued. "Then you made me the biggest roast beef sandwich that I've ever seen, gave me a cup of coffee, and told me to go over to a corner table and enjoy it. I was afraid that you'd get into trouble. Then when I looked over and saw you put the price on my food in the cash register, I knew then that everything would be all right. So you started your own business, old Jack said. I got a job that very afternoon. I worked my way up. Eventually, I started my own business that, with the help of God, prospered. She opened her purse and pulled out a business card. When you're finished here, I want you to pay a visit to Mr. Lyons. He's the personal director of my company. I'll go talk to him now, and I'm certain he'll find something for you to do around the office. She smiled. I think he might even find the funds to give you a little advance so that you can buy some clothes and get a place to live until you get on your feet. If you ever need anything, my door is always open to you. There were tears in the old man's eyes. How can I ever thank you? He said. Don't thank me, the woman answered. To God goes the glory. Thank Jesus. He led me to you. Outside the cafeteria, the officer and the woman paused at the entrance before going their separate ways. Thank you for all your help, officer, she said. On the contrary, Miss Hetty, he answered. Thank you. I saw a miracle today, something that I'll never forget. And thank you for the coffee. Thanks for watching. Please like and share the video in social networks. We'll be right back to you as fast as we can.